Speaker Barlow, you're live on YouTube.
Thank you. The Wyoming House of Representatives will please come to order. Welcome, members. It's a pleasure to see you today on our 10th day of the 66th Wyoming House of Representatives. I'm going to respectfully ask any of you that may have your YouTube on or on the Zoom, please turn it off, except for those that are joining us by Zoom. And hopefully you see the folks that are joining us, and I think we're expecting a couple more that are having some difficulties logging on. So that's how they'll be joining us until they come to the chamber, return to the chamber. So at this time, Chief Clerk, please call the roll.
Convening roll call for the 10th day, Monday, March 1st, 2021. Andrew. Baker. Banks. Bear. Blackburn. Brown. Burkhart. Burt. Clausen. Clifford. Clifford. Connolly. Connolly. Crago. Duncan. Eklund. Air. Flitner. Flitner. Fortner. Gray. Greer. Hallinan. Hallinan. Haroldson. Haroldson. Harshman. Heiner. Henderson. Hunt. Jennings. Kinner. Knapp. Larson Lloyd. Larson Dan. McGuire. Martinez. Martinez. Nyman. Newsom. Nicholas. Oakley. Obermuller. O'Hearn. Olson. Ottman. Ottman. Paxton. Provenza. Roscoe. Schwartz. Sherwood. Here. Simpson. Summers. Stith. Stivar. Sweeney. Walters. Washit. Western. Wharf. Williams. Wilson. Winter. Yin. Zwanitzer. Mr. Speaker.
Here. Chief Clerk, Chief Clerk, I think we have a committee that's still out, so we'll hold the roll until we get a little further in the day. Hold the roll open, please. Thank you very much. Members, we're pleased to be joined today by our chaplain, the Reverend Bob Thompson from First Presbyterian Church here in Cheyenne, Wyoming. So please join us.
Thank you for the privilege of coming before you for your work today and praying for your work as you begin your new legislative session. Hear these words from Psalm 24. Lift up your heads, O gates, and be lifted up, O ancient doors, that the King of glory may come in. Who is the King of glory? The Lord strong and mighty, the Lord of hosts. He is the King of glory. Let us pray. Almighty God, as we begin a new week, we acknowledge that you are the beginning of all things. You are the creator, and you have given us a beautiful world to live in. We recognize the beauty of the great state of Wyoming, and we are blessed to call Wyoming home. Lord, we thank you for your creativity. Help us to be mindful that all that we have and all that we see belongs to you. We are only stewards of your creation. God, during this time of a worldwide pandemic, we lift up our prayers to you. We pray for all those who are sick with COVID or other medical concerns, that your healing hand be upon them. We pray for all those who have lost loved ones to COVID. Comfort them. We pray for the scientists and medical staff who are developing vaccines and administering them. We pray that the vaccines be effective, plentiful, and available to all. We pray for the safety for all who are working on front lines. Protect them. God, as we gather in this esteemed building for the government of the people, we are aware of your presence and your honor. We know that you are the King of all creation and that all authority on earth owes allegiance to you. Eternal God, you have plans for us and the power to make them happen. By your providence and through the voice of the people, these women and men have been chosen to serve as representatives of this state. As these women and men begin a new legislative session, we pray for your Holy Spirit to guide each one. Give each legislature and government worker a knowledge of your will for the world, for Wyoming, and for their communities. Empower them as they serve a public trust beyond personal gain or glory. May they see that no community or state lives for itself alone, but is responsible to you for peace and for the well-being of all people. God, I thank you for these representatives, for their willingness to serve and the wisdom that you have given them. We ask you to bless their work. I pray for their health and strength during these long days. Provide them energy and clear minds. God, we know that most of these men and women are away from their families as they serve in this capacity. We pray for those relationships, that you strengthen and bless them during this time. God, I pray for the work that is coming before them in the coming weeks and the work they will see today. As they study and debate, may you guide their decisions by your Spirit. Lead them through the process of discernment, that the work they do may reflect your will and bring you glory. In Christ's name I pray, amen.
Thank you, Reverend. Members, Reverend, please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the Thank you, Reverend Thomas. So there has been a tradition in the past to play ball, but we're going to do that before we gavel in. So folks, if you get here early enough, please go around, shake hands, do your things. We have a limited number of days this session, as you know, to be live and in person. So we're going to suspend with the traditional play ball until we get to a time when maybe it's a little more appropriate for us to intermingle in the same way that we have in the past. So you can say play ball, but that play ball means first inning. We're going to work, not intermission. All right. Thank you very much. So we're going to continue with the roll call. So let's keep it down a little bit because I know we had a committee out doing good work. So continue with. Some of you haven't seen this in person yet, but Malachi Harrelson provided this to the Speaker of this 66th House of Representatives. And I'm not sure how to use it yet, but we'll figure that out if we need to. So we're going to continue with the roll call. So please be attentive to your name being called, those that weren't here in committee meetings. Chief Clerk.
Clifford.
Here.
Flitner. Hallinan. Martinez. Ottman. Stivar. Washit. Washit.
Excused.
Excused. Worf. Wilson. Wilson.
Excused.
Excused. Connolly. Present. We have 58 present, 2 are excused.
Thank you, Chief Clerk. Next order of business is Journal Committee report.
Mr. Speaker, your Journal Committee reports that the Journal of February 5th, 2021 has been read and recommends that it be approved. Representatives Haroldson and Provenza.
Thank you very much. So members, you're going to be introduced, or at least have a list of new employees, because as you know, during the journals or during the virtual session, we only had, I think, 3 people assisting us, and now we're up to, I think, 18. So we're gonna approve those new folks, but you'll see some of them doing their duties before we get to that point. So I think we're at that point of reading an introduction of bills, Chief Clerk. I got to find my list. The first bill for our consideration is House Bill 46.
House Bill 46, sponsored by Representative Stiff.
First reading of the bill.
Crime of bestiality.
Next bill for our consideration is House Bill 73.
House Bill 73, sponsored by Representative Greer. Birth certificates, gestational agreements.
First reading of the bill, and then I think you read the title. Thank you. Next bill for consideration, House Bill 121.
House Bill 121, sponsored by appropriations.
First reading of the bill.
State-funded capital construction.
Next bill for our consideration, House Bill 133.
House Bill 133, sponsored by Representative Walters.
First reading of the bill.
Online sports wagering.
Next bill for our introduction is House Bill 94.
House Bill 94, sponsored by Representative Summers.
You know, Chief Clerk, I haven't been telling who I'm referring these to.
That would be good.
All right, so House Bill 46 is referred to Committee Number 1, Judiciary. House Bill 73 was referred to Committee Number 1, Judiciary. House Bill 121 will be referred to Committee Number 2, Appropriations. House Bill 133 will be referred to Committee Number 2, Appropriations. House Bill 94, the next bill for our consideration.
House Bill 94, sponsored by Representative Summers.
First reading of the bill.
Solar electricity generation taxation.
House Bill 94 is referred to Committee Number 3, Revenue. Next bill for our consideration is House Bill 104. (108) 108, my apologies, 108.
House Bill 108, sponsored by Representative Hallinan.
First reading of the bill.
Wind energy production tax.
House Bill 108 is referred to Committee Number 3, Revenue. Next bill for our introduction is House Bill 118.
House Bill 118, sponsored by Representative Duncan.
First reading of the bill.
Food Freedom Act amendments.
House Bill 118 is referred to Committee Number 5, Agriculture. Next bill for our introduction is House Bill 112.
House Bill 112, sponsored by Representative Clausen.
First reading of the bill.
Lifetime pioneer trapping license.
House Bill 112 is referred to Committee Number 6, Travel. Next bill for our consideration is House Bill 115.
House Bill 115, sponsored by Representative Paxton.
First reading of the bill.
Big or trophy game animal minimum hunting age.
House Bill 115 is referred to Committee Number 6, Travel. Next bill for our consideration is House Bill 136.
House Bill 136, sponsored by Representative Yen.
First reading of the bill.
Inclusive ballot language.
House Bill 136 is referred to Committee Number 7, Corporations. Next bill for our consideration is House Bill 131.
House Bill 131, sponsored by Representative Larson Lloyd.
First reading of the bill.
Correction, Representative Larson Dan.
Thank you. I thought that was, okay, go ahead, please.
Transportation Department contract immunity repeal.
House Bill 131 is referred to Committee Number 8, Transportation. Next bill for our introduction is House Bill 135.
House Bill 135, sponsored by Representative Henderson.
First reading of the bill.
Hank Cole Leadership Highway designation.
House Bill 135 is referred to Committee Number 8, Transportation. Next bill for our introduction is House Bill 67.
House Bill 67, sponsored by Representative Harshman.
First reading of the bill.
Geothermal Energy Review.
House Bill 67 is referred to Committee Number 9, Minerals. Next bill for our consideration is House Bill 137.
House Bill 137, sponsored by Representative Yin.
First reading of the bill.
Medicaid Birth Cost Recovery Repeal.
House Bill 137 is referred to Committee Number 10, Labor. So members, in consultation with the majority floor leader, we're going to keep rolling bills out in groups of 10 and 20, 15 to 20, just to keep committees with a full slate ahead of them, 6 to 8 bills. And I keep a list of what bills are in the committees and work with the committee chairman. So your bills are being queued up. We're just trying to get things out, and some committees didn't have much work. So we're trying to get them some bills for this next few days. So thank you very much. Our next order of business is reports from standing committees. And as we start reading these reports, this is a good time for members, as now we're all together, to kind of listen to the work that was done last week in those 3 days that we met for committee meetings. From here on out, it'll of course be just the committee meetings that had happened in one day. So there'll be quite a few committee reports that come up. So that'll give you a sense. And the reason I guess I'm suggesting it'd be great to kind of listen in and tune in is because some of these bills are going to be on general file today. When they're available to the majority floor leader, he intends to bring some of them up today. So this will kind of give you a sense of how they came out of committee and the support they had. So with that, reports from standing committees.
Mr. Speaker, your committee number 1, Judiciary, to whom was referred House Bill 41, Intrastate Crowdfunding Exemptions Amendments, respectfully reports back same to the House with a recommendation that it do pass. Ayes, Representatives Craigo, Oakley, Olson, Provenza, Rodriguez Williams, Washit, Yin, Zawanitzer, and Larson Dan is absent from the meeting. Mr. Speaker, your committee number 1, Judiciary, to whom was referred House Bill 43, Digital Assets Amendments, respectfully reports same back to the House with the recommendation that it do pass. Ayes, Representatives Craigo, Larson Dan, Oakley, Olson, Provenza, Rodriguez Williams, Washit, Yin, Zawanitzer. Representative Olson, Chairman. Mr. Speaker, your committee number 1, Judiciary, to whom was referred Senate File 21, Judiciary Review of Agency Actions, Permissible Venues, respectfully reports same back to the House with a recommendation that it do pass. Ayes, Representatives Craigo, Oakley, Olson, Provenza, Rodriguez Williams, Washit, Yin, Zawanitzer, Larson Dan. Representative Chairman Olson. Mr. Speaker, your committee number 2, Appropriations, to whom was referred House Bill 105, Health Facilities Task Force End Date, respectfully reports same back to the House with the recommendation that it do pass. Ayes, Representatives Kinner, Larson Lloyd, Nicholas, Schwartz, Simpson, Stith, Walters. Chairman Nicholas. Mr. Speaker, your committee number 2, Appropriations, to whom was referred House Bill 107, Retirement System Efficient Disbursement Method, Respectful report, same back to the House with a recommendation that it do pass. Following amendment. Ayes, Representatives Kinner, Larson Lloyd, Nicholas, Schwartz, Simpson, Stith, Walters. Representative Larson Lloyd, Chairman. Mr. Speaker, your committee number 3, Revenue, to whom was referred House Bill 99, Property Tax Increase Limit 2. Respectfully report same back to the House with a recommendation that it do pass with the following amendments. Ayes, Representatives Baker, Gray, Hallinan, Harshman, Henderson, Jennings, Sweeney. Absent, Representatives Roscoe, Yen. Representative Harshman, Chairman. Mr. Speaker, your committee number 3, Revenue, to whom was referred House Joint Resolution 3, State Lands Mineral Royalties Constitutional Amendment. Respectful report, same back to the House with a recommendation that it do pass. Ayes, Representatives Baker, Hallinan, Harshman, Henderson, Roscoe, Sweeney, Yin. Noes, Representatives Gray and Jennings. Representative Harshman, Chairman. Mr. Speaker, your committee number 5, Agriculture, State and Public Lands and Water Resources, to whom was referred House Bill 54, Wyoming Meat Packing Initiative. Respectfully report same back to the House with the recommendation that it do pass with the following amendments. Ayes, Representatives Blackburn, Clausen, Eklund, Fortner, Western, Wharf, Winter. Noes, Representatives Heiner and Larson Dan. Representative Eklund, Chairman. Mr. Speaker, your committee number 4, Education, to whom was referred House Bill 57, Advanced Enrollment. Respectful report same back to the House with the recommendation that it do pass. Ayes, Representatives Andrew, Brown, Connolly, Harshman, Nyman, Newsom, Obermueller, Paxton, Summers. Representative Paxton, Chairman. Mr. Speaker, your committee number 6, Travel, Recreation, Wildlife, and Cultural Resources, to whom is referred House Bill 86, Off-Road Recreational Vehicle Registration Authorized. Respectful reports, same back to the House with the recommendation that it do pass. Ayes, Representatives Bank, Flitner, Haroldson, Hunt, Knapp, Newsom, Sweeney, Winter. Noes, Representative Jennings. Representative Flitner, Chairman. Mr. Speaker, your committee number 6, Travel, Recreation, Wildlife, and Cultural Resources, to whom was referred House Bill 95, Game Roadkill. Respectfully report same back to the House with the recommendation that it do pass with the following amendments. Ayes, Representatives Banks, Haroldson, Hunt, Jennings, Knapp, Newsom, Sweeney, Winter. Noes, Representative Flintner. Representative Flitner, Chairman. Mr. Speaker, your committee number 6, Travel, Recreation, Wildlife, and Cultural Resources, to whom was referred House Bill 101, Elk Feed Ground Closing Requirements. Respectful report same back to the House with the recommendation that it do pass with the following amendments. Ayes, Representatives Flitner, Haroldson, Hunt, Jennings, Knapp, Newsom, Sweeney, Winter. Noes, Representative Banks. Representative Flitner, Chairman. Mr. Speaker, your committee number 7, Corporations, Elections, and Political Subdivisions, to whom was referred House Bill 39, Optometric Practice Act Amendment. Respectful report, same back to the House with a recommendation that it do pass with the following amendments. Ayes. Representatives Blackburn, Clausen, Clifford, Duncan, Air, Hunt, Roscoe, Swanitzer. Noes, Representative McGuire. Representative Swanitzer is chairman. Mr. Speaker, your committee number 7, Corporations, Elections, and Political Subdivisions, to whom is referred House Bill 75, Voter Fraud Prevention. Respectfully report same back to the House with the recommendation that it do pass with the following amendments. Ayes. Representatives Blackburn, Duncan, Air, Hunt, McGuire, Swanitzer. Noes. Representatives Clausen, Clifford, Roscoe. Representative Swanitzer, chairman. Mr. Speaker, your committee number 7, Corporations, Elections, and Political Subdivisions, to whom is referred House Bill 91, Removal of Unenforceable Property Covenants. Respectful report, same back to the House with the recommendation that it do pass with the following amendments. Ayes. Representatives Blackburn, Clausen, Clifford, Duncan, Air, Hunt, McGuire, Roscoe, Swanitzer. Representative Swanitzer, chairman. Mr. Speaker, your committee number 8, Transportation, Highway, and Military Affairs, to whom is referred House Bill 22, Wyoming Military Code. Respectful report, same back to the House with the recommendation that it do pass with the following amendments. Ayes. Representatives Baker, Brown, Burkhart, Burt, Henderson, McGuire, Obermueller, O'Hearn, Stivar. Representative Burkhart, chairman. Mr. Speaker, your committee number 8, Transportation, Highways, and Military Affairs, to whom is referred House Bill 26, Fuel Tax. Respectful report, same back to the House with a recommendation that it do pass the following amendments. Ayes. Representatives Brown, Burkhart, Henderson, McGuire, Obermueller, O'Hearn. Noes. Baker, Burt, Stivar. Representative Burkhart, chairman.
So members, let's try to keep the noise to a dull roar. And if you have to have an engaged conversation, maybe use the side hallways, please, so we can get through this. This is a unique time with this many bills, but let's let the reader get through it. And just to be clear, the background noise is being picked up across the world. So this isn't just the folks in the gallery hearing what's going on. It's picked up across the entire system. So please be respectful to that. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, your committee number 8, Transportation, Highways, and Military Affairs, to whom is referred House Bill 71, Mountain Standard Time. Respectful report, same back to the House with the recommendation that it do pass. Ayes. Representatives Baker, Brown, Burt, O'Hearn, Stivar. Noes. Representatives Burkhart, Henderson, McGuire, Obermueller. Representative Burkhart, chairman. Mr. Speaker, your committee number 9, Minerals, Business, and Economic Development, to whom is referred House Bill 7, Air Ambulance Membership Organizations Regulation. Respectful report, same back to the House with a recommendation that it do pass following amendments. Ayes. Representatives Bear, Burkhart, Duncan, Air, Greer, Heiner, Sherwood, Western. Noes. Representative Gray. Representative Greer, chairman. Mr. Speaker, your committee number 9, Minerals, Business, and Economic Development, to whom is referred House Bill 10, COVID-19 Large Business Relief Program. Respectful report, same back to the House with the recommendation that it do pass with the following amendments. Ayes, Representatives Bear, Burkhart, Duncan, Air, Heiner, Sherwood, Western. Noes, Representatives Gray. Conflict, Representative Greer. Representative Greer, Chairman. Mr. Speaker, your committee number 9, Minerals, Business and Economic Development, to whom was referred House Bill 64, Uniform Fraudulent Transfer Act, extinguishing claims. Respectful report, same back to the House with the recommendation that it do pass. Ayes, Representatives Bear, Burkhart, Duncan, Air, Gray, Greer, Heiner, Sherwood, Western. Representative Greer, Chairman. Mr. Speaker, your committee number 9, Minerals, Business and Economic Development, to whom was referred House Bill 68, Wyoming Statutory Foundation Act amendments. Respectful report, same back to the House with the recommendation that it do pass. Ayes, Representatives Bear, Burkhart, Duncan, Air, Gray, Greer, Heiner, Sherwood, Western. Representative Greer, Chairman. Mr. Speaker, your committee number 9, Minerals, Business and Economic Development, to whom was referred House Bill 69, Division of Banking Fees. Respectful report, same back to the House with the recommendation that it do pass with the following amendments. Ayes, Representatives Bear, Burkhart, Duncan, Air, Gray, Greer, Heiner, Sherwood, Western. Representative Greer, Chairman. Mr. Speaker, your committee number 9, Minerals, Business and Economic Development, to whom was referred House Bill 104, Uniform Trust Code Amendments. Respectful report, same back to the House with the recommendation that it do pass. Ayes, Representatives Bear, Burkhart, Duncan, Air, Gray, Greer, Heiner, Sherwood, Western. Representative Greer, Chairman. Mr. Speaker, your committee number 10, Labor, Health and Social Services, to whom was referred House Bill 38, Community Behavioral Health, Priority Populations. Respectful report, same back to the House with the recommendation that it do pass with the following amendments. Ayes, Representatives Flintner, Hallinan, Ottman, Romero Martinez, Wharf, Wilson. Noes, Representatives Clifford, Connolly, Stivar. Representative Wilson, Chairman. Mr. Speaker, your committee number 8, Transportation, Highway and Military Affairs, to whom was referred House Bill 19, Antique Motor Vehicles. Respectful report, same back to the House with a recommendation that it do pass with the following amendments. Ayes, Representatives Brown, Burt, Henderson, McGuire, Obermuller, O'Hearn. Noes, Representatives Baker, Burkhart, Stivar. Representative Burkhart, Chairman. Mr. Speaker, your committee number 8, Transportation, Highway and Military Affairs, to whom was referred House Bill 21, Wyoming National Guard Preference for Education. Respectful report, same back to the House with a recommendation that it do pass. Ayes, Representatives Baker, Brown, Burkhart, Burt, Henderson, McGuire, Obermuller, O'Hearn, Stivar. Representative Burkhart, Chairman.
These were the general.
Thank you very much, reading clerk. So hopefully that'll be the last time we have that big of a list. We have a couple of re-referrals. Chairman, if you have a re-referral, would you be ready for that? Chairman Greer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your committee number 9, we would like to re-refer House Bill 10 to committee number 2 appropriations.
House Bill 10 is re-referred to committee number 2 appropriations. Any other re-referrals? Chairman Burkhart.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Committee number 8 would like to re-refer House Bill 26 to appropriations.
Thank you. House Bill 26 is re-referred to appropriations. Any other re-referrals? I think we've got one more, but I think our Chairman of Revenues is out visiting with folks, so we'll get to him in a little bit. Mr. Majority Floor Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the following named persons be placed in nomination as employees of the House of Representatives and they be voted on collectively. Chris Carlson, computer floor clerk. Charlene Randolph, messenger. Katie Talbot, attorney secretary. Barb Austin, secretary. Kay Benning, secretary. Carol Clark, secretary. Mary Lee Dixon, secretary. Diana Hickson-Boss, secretary. Bonnie Jo Cruz, secretary. Sandy Dent, copy center clerk. Patty Mingini, chamber support clerk. Carol Nicol Arson. Hirschler 1 West support clerk. Ed Mingini, gallery doorman. George Geyer, lobby doorman. Chris Bridwell, morning break room. Susan Long, afternoon break room.
Members, you've heard the motion. All those in favor of the motion that the above named persons, the names you just heard, be placed in nomination and approved as employees of the House of Representatives and that they be voted on collectively. All those in favor, please say aye. And thank you for those participating remotely. All opposed, say no. Thank you very much. The motion has carried. So members, we are now at 19 staff because as you'll recall, we approved the chief clerk, the leadership secretary, and the sergeant of arms when we convened the first time. So we're at 19, and these are the folks that I am most earnest about us keeping safe, keeping their health safe so that we can continue to do the work as they support us. 6 of those folks, as you know, are not going to be on the floor as they were in the past. As committee secretaries, they would often be in the back and coming back and forth. Now all of that work will be done remotely. And so you won't see them except when you're in your committee rooms. We're at that point of business, and I warned you about this on the 12th of January that we were going to forestall the giving of speeches by leadership. And we'll get to that now. Mr. Chairman of Revenue, did you want to make a re-referral while you were walking by the microphone there?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chairman Harshman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to re-refer House Joint Resolution 3 to your committee number 2 appropriations.
Thank you. House Joint Resolution 3 is re-referred to committee number 2. So at this time, members, if you would, and members of the audience, thank you for being here in the gallery and then, of course, throughout the world. If you'll give your attention to our leadership that has some prepared remarks. And I'm going to back off the speeches description because I think I've seen most of them, and I think they're fairly short, and I hope you'll appreciate that and poignant, I hope. So we'll start with our majority floor leader, Representative Summers.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem, Majority Whip, Madam Minority Floor Leader, distinguished guests, and ladies and gentlemen of the 66th. One of the greatest honors of my life has been to serve my constituents in the state of Wyoming in the Wyoming House of Representatives. To serve this body as Majority Floor Leader is humbling. I want to thank my wife, Sue, for her patience and for allowing me to serve you in the great state of Wyoming. I would also like to thank all the family members, neighbors, friends, employers, and business partners who support each and all of our efforts. in the Wyoming legislature. Without them, we could not serve. I pledge to help maintain the integrity of this institution. The legislative process depends upon us building relationships with constituents, House members, Senate members, and the executive branch. At no time in my life have I seen this nation so divided. We must pull back from the abyss of hatred, a hatred that is spawned by fear, and a fear that is fueled by the inability to discern the truth and by feeling our voices aren't heard. Wyoming and this nation will survive this difficult time if we turn toward our neighbors with compassion, not hatred. If we move toward the better sides of our nature, not towards our worst habits. We must each stand firm in our beliefs, but be willing to bend ever so slightly to solve our mutual problems. We are here to solve problems, and that can only be done by starting with a conversation, building trust, and forming relationships. Building relationships is impossible if we lack civility and foment discord. We will disagree on many issues, but we must maintain our decorum and civility to each other and to the public that we represent. I pledge to the members of the 66 that I will work hard with the rest of leadership and our staff to run a smooth legislative session. May the 66th legislature serve Wyoming in a manner that we, our predecessors, and our successors will be proud of. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Majority Floor Leader. I'm going to take maybe just a moment of personal privilege. Most of us can probably count the truly dear people in your lives on one hand, and maybe if you've lived long enough, you've got two hands. That man is on my one hand. So thank you, Mr. Majority Floor Leader. So next to offer remarks and remarks, not a speech, I'm sure, is our Minority Floor Leader, Representative Conley. Representative Conley.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Majority Floor Leader and Speaker Pro Tem, Governor Gordon, Chief Justice Davis, distinguished guests, and to friends and family here as well as afar, colleagues and staff of the 66, I am humbled to be here before you. There's no two ways about it. It's an odd time. For many, we're well into the session and we're meeting each other for the first time. I've texted a few of you. I've cyber-stalked many of you. I've also wandered around the floor the past couple of days, getting my desk ready and my statutes put away, and I've learned some things. Do you know that Carly is really, really tall? That Ocean has a new baby girl? That Kevin has 31 years in the military and is exhausted from dancing at his daughter's wedding last week? And bless his heart, Pat Sweeney answered a 7:45 a.m. phone call from me this morning because I left my computer in my hotel room and he went and got it for me. Thank you, Pat. Really. We have challenges before us, but let's start by being conscious and grateful for what Wyoming has given to us and the work to protect it for future generations. The beauty of our state with its abundant wildlife and public access to wide open spaces, vibrant communities with vital main streets, a top-notch education system, a sovereign wealth fund that's the envy of the nation, and accolades for our business-friendly environment. Each and every one of them was envisioned by those who came before us, who believed and fought for those policies related to conservation, prudent investment, and high-quality education. They make me proud to follow in their footsteps. To be sure, I'm not going to say that everything was simply humming along until last year. We were struggling with profound recognition that our tax structure is obsolete, that our efforts at economic diversification haven't really panned out, and that we have a long way to go to provide quality, affordable, accessible healthcare. We're losing far too many of our young people to opportunities elsewhere, and more tragically to suicide. In the past few years, we've witnessed our first coal mine bankruptcies. Not only did our neighbors lose their jobs, but the revenue we depend on for our counties and schools has been gutted. Members of the 64th, the 64th, back to the 63rd began to work on these issues. But admittedly, even at the end of the last year, they left their resolution for us, the members of the 66th. And that was before the pandemic hit and oil prices plummeted. Our obligations today are staggering, but the lessons we learned in the past year can't be forgotten. First and foremost, we must acknowledge the resiliency of our people and our communities that keep our state going. There are so many to thank, from healthcare workers to teachers to those staffing our grocery stores. And then just the people who stepped up. In my community, there's a woman named Linda. I don't know her very well, but she's an attorney. She has a penchant for cooking, and she turned her hobby into a food truck. Every month or so, with a group of young people, she sponsors a fundraiser, whether it's for a family or need, whether it is for healthcare, food, or housing insecurity. I go get a yummy meal, and all of the proceeds are donated. And I'm sure each and every one of you has a story like that in your home community. I am in awe of her and her generosity, and I am confident that you have those in your community as well. But what gets me is the staggering need. Right before session, those in my county, we met with our social service providers, and they told us that they have more in number than they have ever seen before in need of heat, food, healthcare, and clothing. So as state lawmakers, the duly elected, what's our response when our people ask for help? I think we need to listen. We need to listen to the service providers in our communities. We need to listen to our businesses and neighbors when they tell us loud and clear that we need broadband infrastructure, an educated workforce, and to be known as a welcoming state for all. And we can do more. We can provide high quality early childhood education. We can step it up when it comes to corrections and healthcare. Imagine a loved one who simply gets treatment for illness, whether it's cancer or diabetes or dementia. Imagine our neighbors who are suicidal or with mental illness and substance abuse problems getting help before being placed in hospitals, prisons, or worse. No one should go bankrupt for medicine or care. Our job is to build a Wyoming that our neighbors don't want to leave, where our businesses flourish and our young people feel welcome to stay as others see an opportunity to come here and make this wonderful state their home. Let's make it so when our constituents ask us when we get home, what did you do this session? Our answers can be, I made our communities stronger and safer. I made meaningful business incentives. I bolstered our education system and I cared for our sick. I acted on the fundamental belief that our political process isn't about partisan politics and power games. Instead, it's about the state that we want to create. Let's work together as Democrats and Republicans, ranchers and railroaders, teachers and miners to get the work done with passion, humility, and vision to govern into the future for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Minority Floor Leader, for your kind words and advice to our body. Mr. Speaker Pro Tem.
Good. So as I was trying to put some words together, I had this overwhelming sense of self-importance, but quickly realized I was like the least worst option for this office. So it brought me back down to earth. Mr. Speaker, Madam Minority Floor Leader, and then Mr. Floor Majority Leader. Yeah, that one's for Roy. Okay. Members of the 66. You know, we are one of the last true bastions of representative democracy here in Wyoming. You know, each one of us represent about 9,000 people. Those 9,000 people are our families, our friends, our neighbors, businesses that we do business with. Heck, it's a neighbor 2 blocks down that we don't even know, but they're the people we're down here to represent. You know, we're tasked with a monumental, excuse me, I'm nervous. I never get nervous. We're tasked with a monumental duty here. You know, and it's not a task suited for the lighthearted or the weak-minded, you know, and I say that it takes a strong heart to know your center, to know your balance, to know your values, to know the values of your neighbors, to know the values of the community you represent, to know the values of the state of Wyoming. You know, and it takes a strong mind in this political environment to block out the noise. It takes a strong mind not always listen to the loudest voices. Listen to that inner voice. Do what's right for your constituents, your family, and yourself. So with a strong mind, strong heart, true heart, you know, each one of us must find a vision for the future here. It's what we're down here for. Just look out on the horizon to find that vision, that future, what we want Wyoming to be. You know, when I come down here this time, my 11th trip down, I took the long way around. So I come out of Worland over the Bighorn Mountains into Buffalo, down through Ucross, Clearmont, Arvada, Spotted Horse, you know, all the metropolitan areas into Gillette. And it's absolutely amazing when we think about it. You know, I've come out of the valley I live in the vision, the risks, the work that went into making that an agricultural area to bring water there, to bring things to life. Then down into Buffalo, and you see people out working their cattle, you know, family, they're moving bulls, 3 horses, 3 4-wheelers, modern ranching, right? At its best. Sheep along the side of the road, coal mines, pump jacks, wind turbines, all the communities I drove through, the vision of the people that came before us. My goodness. My wife's great grandparents dug a hole in the side of the creek and lived there for a year to be able to develop that land. You know, that vision of those people that were scratching a living at that decided, you know what, we need to borrow money, we need to chip in, we need to build a courthouse so we can have the rule of law to make Wyoming a better place and for us to have a business environment to be proud of. Amazing. Build a school. Take your meager earnings and give 10% so you can build a church, have a place to worship, have a community, develop a family, have a vision for the future. You know, I drive across Wyoming. It's beautiful to us, no doubt about it. But just face it, it's a harsh landscape, especially in March. These people weren't faint of heart. They weren't weak of mind. They had a vision for the state of Wyoming. So I come down here, and that's the thing that I have to remind myself all the time. You have that vision, Mike. And I ask that of every one of you. Have that vision, how we look forward. What do we do to make our communities better? What do we do to make the area we come from better? What do we do to take the state of Wyoming forward to make us a better place? That's what we need to be asking ourselves. That's what we need to do and reflect. That's what we need to do when we're working these bills. Don't come down here and just try to tear down what those great things those people that came before us. Don't do that. Find a vision. I'd be a little bit remiss here, and I seriously doubt she's watching, but I do need to thank my wife, Tiffany, my son, Seth, my daughter, Taylor, little Wayland, and Weston Michael, 2 new members of our family. without their support, and our commitment as a family to make Wyoming better, I wouldn't be able to come down here. And fortunately for me, it becomes really easy to come down here because towards the end of every single year, my family kept going, Dad, isn't it about time for you to go to Cheyenne, get your cranky backside out of here, give us a break? So it makes it easy to come down. Anyway, so I just want to state again, find your vision for your family, for your neighbors, for yourself, for the state of Wyoming. This makes Wyoming better than we found it. Just look forward, just get to work. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. And I am glad you mentioned your wife in that. That was a wise move, and she'll appreciate that. Mr. Speaker Pro Tem.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce the Speaker of the 66th Wyoming House of Representatives, Mr. Eric Barlow.
Thank you, friends. Mr. Speaker Pro Tem, thank you. It's certainly a different time that I'm before you. Normally it's on day 1. We're on day 10. Normally my family would be sitting here and your families would be all up there. And we'd have special guests and the governor would probably be close by and it'd be just a different time. But I am still pleased to be here with you together. All but 2 of us are right here, and they are with us as well. So with that, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem, Mr. Majority Floor, Madam Minority Floor Leader, Mr. Majority Whip, Chief Clerk Harding, colleagues of the 66th Wyoming House of Representatives, guests joining us in the gallery, and for the first time throughout the world as we live stream. In fact, I'm pretty confident my family in France is watching. It is my honor to serve you as Speaker of the House and to serve with you as a representative in this House. We gathered together to do the work of the people of our precious Wyoming. What we do and how we do it matters. I am blessed to be part of this adventure with you. To the voters of House District 3, thank you for the 5 times you've provided me this opportunity. I am humbled. This will be my last general session in the Wyoming House of Representatives. And I will continue to work to make my time here an example of representative service. I hope each of us does so. To my wife, Kelly, and this is why you write things down. Thank you for questioning less and praying more. For doing our work while I was away and making decisions that you shouldn't have had to make on your own. I love you, I need you, and I appreciate you. And I so wish you were right here with us. All right, thank you. Don't let it go to her head, please. To my children who saw me depart often and may not have understood, I hope you will find something to cherish in what I did while I was away. Colleagues, Please be appreciative of those holding down the fort while in your families, businesses, and communities while you were here. As you do this work, they enable your service. And as a side note, I'll just be candid with you. A bottle of champagne every Friday night when I get home helps smooth anything over that went wrong for the week. Just being honest. To our legislative predecessors, I so appreciate the care for which you crafted a respectful, engaging, and productive process and institution. It is resilient, yet open to adjustment. We carry forth now, leaning on your example, as we too will soon be memories on the wall. Let us pass on this house to our successors, strengthened wherever possible. To those colleagues who gave me special guidance and came alongside during rough patches, particularly that first session when there was more than one day that I could have walked out, got in the car, and headed north. I am forever grateful that you supported me and that I hopefully get to make you proud as I continue with this service. To our staff, both the ones you see here and the ones that you're not seeing right now, wow, you have delivered, you continue to deliver. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. We appreciate you. And while this is final, it's actually the first for me. To my Lord and Savior, my thanks for your eternal promise. What do I hope to offer the 66th? I will do best to make sure you can effectively make your voice heard, your ideas better, and that the good ideas get even better. And that our traditions are honored and the future of this house in Wyoming is well served. If I can get those few things done, all you have to do is the real work, members of the 66th. The reading of bills, not sound bites. The debating of issues, not each other. The solving of challenges, not creating unintended ones. The business of keeping government out of the way most often and helpful when appropriate. The path of being effective, not just right, and opportunities to better inform our own opinions. All the while, we should value each other. I've reviewed the speeches of previous speakers. In fact, I think I went back 10 speakers, including the good former Speaker Harshman. I only read one of his speeches. I didn't read them both. I was struck by the policy themes that recurred. Education, economic diversity, revenue, budget, infrastructure, healthcare, individual liberties, etc., and many of the things that our minority floor leader brought up. They keep reoccurring. But while the policy themes are consistent, the questions posed are often quite different because our times change, circumstances change, information changes. And they're all still important, that we continue to try to get it right. And guess what? Our citizens, the people we represent, their expectations change at times too. So it's okay that we continue to talk about the same issues because we maybe haven't got to that right answer. I'm not going to go through a list of personal policy priorities, nor to pretend I can make assumptions for this body. But instead, we'll read the bills, listen to the debate, ask questions, and vote on the bills that come before us, just like each of you will. And then collectively, we'll pass the big ideas and the modest adjustments that we feel are appropriate out of the House for consideration further. Some will rise, others will sit aside for another day. Some will be gut-wrenching. Some will be quite comfortable. Let's continue to listen, learn, and consider possibilities. And most importantly, let's take care of each other. This is a team endeavor. While it only takes 31 votes to pass a bill, it takes all 60 of us to best understand it. Now, I want to be clear. That doesn't mean that we all have to speak on every bill. Just saying. Now, if you need to ask a question or need to say something and have something, please do, because that's what we're here for. We will have some long days and encounter bumps along the road. Please consider extending grace where possible. The next time, it may be you who needs it. It may be me. It goes without saying we are in unprecedented times in so many ways. The COVID pandemic, political frustrations, foundational policy challenges, to name just a few. However, I am so confident in the unique combination that our individual capabilities as we bring to this floor and the stability offered by this institution offers us every opportunity to do meaningful things. We have the owner's manual in our Constitution. We have a dedicated and professional staff to assist us. And we have the citizens of Wyoming providing guidance. We are the people's house. They charged us to do this work. I am confident we can do it well. You can do it well. Stay strong, stay Wyoming. Thank you. Thank you, members. Thank you for our guests and across the world. We appreciate it so much you joined us. Hopefully that'll be the longest time you hear me speak for the entire rest of my term in the Wyoming House of Representatives. And I'm sure you hope that too. So members, now it's down to the business of our body. Mr. Majority Floor Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the House resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole.
You have heard the motion of the Majority Floor Leader. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed say no. Thank you very much. Representative Newsom.
The Committee of the Whole will please come to order.
Mike.
Representative Summers,
Mike.
it's on. Speaker Pro Tem, Majority Floor
that's
Leader
okay.
Summers.
Madam Chairman, thank you. I just kind of wanted to go over the Committee of the Whole list. I sent that all out to you. I had 105 in there. It's going to kind of roll down the bottom for a little while. So right now we're going to start 21, 20, 23, 19, 52, 64, 68, 69, 41, 43, 42, 7, 57, 91, 86, and 107 for now, and then 75. So that's kind of where we're at on the Committee of the Whole list. Just one other note for, as you guys look at the general file list that comes out all the time, That's every bill that's on general file. I'll try to always get you a committee of the whole list, which may differ from that general file list. It'll be what I'm trying to get up first. So just so you recognize that. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. The first bill for our consideration is House Bill 21. The reading clerk will read the bill.
House Bill 21, sponsored by Transportation, Wyoming National Guard Preference for Education. An act relating to defense forces and affairs, extending.
Chairman Burkhart.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Excuse me. I move that when the committee of the whole rises to report, it do so with a recommendation that House Bill number 21 do pass. There are no standing committee amendments, and I turn explanation of the bill over to the good representative from the capital city.
Vice Chairman Brown.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Ladies and gentlemen, at the 66th, I bring you hopefully to be probably the quickest and simplest bill of today. This is a follow-up bill to a bill that we passed last year. And last year, we decided that it was in good practice for this state to recognize that members that are serving our National Guard will be rewarded and capable of being able to pay the same tuition rates that our in-state members do. And so this means that, you know, about 20% of our armed forces here that are National Guard members actually reside outside of the state. But some of them may actually choose to actually be, to actually go to a campus here in the state of Wyoming and further their college education. And so last year we passed the bill that said, hey, we're going to give the same tuition rate to those who are choosing to serve our state. This bill right here, House Bill 21, basically just says, hey, if you're a Wyoming National Guard member, whether it's the Air Guard or the Army Guard, we're also going to give you the same preference for anybody if there's any type of a preference point given to a Wyoming candidate versus a non-Wyoming candidate when it comes to a nursing program or an MBA program or any of these other programs that may come out there. So that's exactly what this bill does. If you look at page 2, very short bill. Right on page 2, line 8, it says preference or benefit to Wyoming residents, Wyoming National Guard members, regardless of the member's state of residence. So basically that's all we're doing is making sure that our Wyoming military members actually get that same preference. One thing that has come up, and I've received a few emails on this, and I want to make sure we understand, is it does say on lines 13 and 14, the section does not apply for calculating tuition or fees. Again, this body and the body across the hall last year passed House Bill 32, and that actually covered the tuition and fees. And with that, Madam Chairwoman, I'll stand for any questions.
Thank you. Hearing the question being called, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. That was on the bill. Where's that? House Bill 21 has passed committee of the whole. The next bill for our consideration is House Bill 20. Chairman Burkhart. Oh, the reading clerk will read the bill.
House Bill 20, sponsored by Transportation, Driver's License Requirements, Visual Acuity, an act relating to motor vehicles. Mr. Speaker, your committee number 8, Transportation, Highways, and Military Affairs, to whom is referred House Bill 20, Driver's License Requirements, Visual Acuity, respectful report, same back to the House with the recommendation that it do pass. Ayes, Representatives Baker, Brown, Burkhart, Burt, Henderson, McGuire, Obermueller, O'Hearn, Stibar. Representative Burkhart, Chairman.
You have heard the reading of the bill. What is your pleasure? Chairman Burkhart.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I move that when the committee of the whole rises to report, it do so with the recommendation that House Bill number 20 do pass. There are no standing committee amendments, and I will turn in a minute, turn explanation of the bill over to the good representative from the Oil City. However, there is a need for a technical amendment that I will bring as a second reading amendment. It doesn't change the bill. It's a conforming amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Burkhart. Representative Obermuller. Mike.
Thank you, Chairman Burkhart, and thank you, Chairwoman. This is a bill I've had my eye on for quite some time. Start out a little humor. This bill amends the driver's license requirement to allow more flexibility in demonstrating that you can see well enough to drive. It's about all of you. Currently, as you know, you sit in front of the vision box when you're getting or renewing your driver's license, or you can present current results from your eye doctor. The constraints of those two methods became apparent during this COVID era and came to the committee from the agency that dealt with those constraints. There were folks that needed a first license or a renewal. The person-to-person contact that the statutes required was problematic and caused delays in some cases more than just an inconvenience. This bill moves vision testing to rulemaking of the department so that in emergency situations like COVID and or with the advancement in technology, the department has flexibility. This is a first step bill addressing the proper approach to the problem, thus the rulemaking emphasis in this bill. Mr. Chairman, the language changes are replicated on page 1, 2, and 3. The language changes are those for those listening without the text in front of you, reads that the applicant is required to, quote, demonstrate adequate visual acuity according to the department rules. I assume that means you can see well enough to drive. So so this bill moves it from the statute to rulemaking. With that, I stand for questions. Thank you.
Is there any discussion on the bill? The question being called, all those in favor of Representative Burkhart's motion that the Committee of the Whole rises to report, it do so with the recommendation that Bill number 20 do pass. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That bill passes. The next bill for our consideration is House Bill 23. The reading clerk will read the bill.
House Bill 23, sponsored by Transportation, Highway Safety, Child Restraints, an act relating to child safety restraints. Mr. Speaker, your Committee Number 8, Transportation, Highway, and Military Affairs, to whom was referred House Bill 23, Highway Safety, Child Restraints, respectfully reports same back to the House with recommendation that it do pass. Ayes, Representatives Baker, Brown, Burkhart, Burt, Henderson, McGuire, Obermuller, O'Hearn, Stivar. Representative Burkhart, Chairman.
You have heard the reading of the bill. What is your pleasure? Chairman Burkhart.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I move that when the Committee of the Whole rise to report, it do so with recommendation that House Bill number 23 do pass. There are no standing committee amendments, and I turn the explanation over to the good representative from the Oil City. There's sure a lot of them.
Thank you. Representative O'Hearn.
Thank you, Chairman Burkhart. Madam Chairman. Members of the 66th Legislature, I bring to you House Bill 23 and ask for your favorable consideration of this bill. This is a short bill with only 3 minor amendments dealing with highway safety, child restraint systems, and the associated fines. I will explain the amendment as I walk through the bill. This bill is very important, not only to the state of Wyoming, but to the United States, as more kids are killed or severely injured in vehicle accidents than in any other manner. The CDC Child Passenger Safety reported that in 2017, restraint use in the United States saved the lives of 325 children under the age of 4. State Statute 31-5-1303 was last amended in 2005. The first and main amendment is on page 2, line number 14, requiring that those children under 2 years of age are to be properly fastened in a child safety restraint system in the back seat facing to the rear. The other 2 amendments are doubling the fines for those that are cited to incentivize violators to procure a child safety restraint system. The first increase is on page 2, line 21, changing the fee from $50 to $100 for the first-time offenders. Note, however, that the fee shall be waived if a child restraint system is procured. Many nonprofits within the state and all over the country provide free child restraint systems. And most police officers and highway patrol have child restraint rodeos that will show you how to install it and will install it for you for free in most cases. So that fee can be waived. The Wyoming Highway Patrol reported that there were 794 first-time offenses and 56 second-time offenses in the last 20 months. The second fee charge is on page 3, line 7, from 100 to 200. This bill is approved by this and supported by the American Academy of Pediatrics, National Highway Safety Traffic Administration, and YDOT. Madam Chairman and committee, I ask for your favorable consideration for House Bill 23. With that, I'll stand for any questions.
Representative Baker.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I have a committee of the whole amendment, but I can wait until after the questions.
Representative Olson.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. So my question is about, this may seem kind of trivial, but on page 2, the language on line 14 through 15 regarding how we're, the age limit really. So it says for each child who has not reached his second birthday. And I'm curious about that language. When I read it at first, I guess I would normally assume that I would see something in statute like 2 years of age. I'm just curious why we chose this language. Maybe that's actually common in transportation statutes. I'm not very familiar with them, but I found it interesting. I don't know if it creates if it could create a legal issue, what it means to have reached your second birthday versus years in age. I don't know if there's really a legal distinction because I've never seen it defined as such. Maybe you can speak to the choice of birthday. Thank you.
Madam Chairman.
Representative Ahern.
Representative Olson, I do not know if it means, I see Representative Brown's coming up.
Just a
He's the
reminder,
lawyer type.
a reminder that we don't use representatives'
Okay.
last names.
Excuse me.
Thank you.
Do you have a question for that?
Representative Brown.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. If you look at this is kind of conforming language, really. I don't think that there's going to be much of a distinction of an issue here, but if you go up to the top of paragraph A, it's very similar language that just says to a person who has not reached their 9th birthday, and I'm trying to find where it says that on there. Line 4. So it says reached his 9th birthday. So this is more than likely just the drafting of what our LSO attorneys, just keeping conforming language with what's already in statute. Thank you, Madam Chairwoman.
Representative O'Hearn, did you have?
No. I think
Representative Connolly.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I just have a question, and I'm curious if there's any discussion in the committee about using weight rather than age. It was my thought that with child restraints, it really had to deal with the size of the kid for safety. And so my 2-year-old was really chunky. There were other 2-year-olds that were much smaller. So I'm just curious about weight versus age.
Madam Chairman.
Representative O'Hearn.
In 2005, it was amended that they had to be 100 pounds. I have my middle daughter almost had to ride in a booster seat to take her driver's test because she was so small. They changed that in 2005. We've all been taught how to pick up a baby, either from our wives or our mothers. Necks are not strong enough to support a baby's head until about the age of 2. Some states are doing it at age 3 or 4, but this is just changing it to the rear-facing seat in a harness seat. Most car seats can be changed from a harness to a belt seat when they become larger and don't fit the harnesses so well. And they can be purchased or provided for by most nonprofits.
Is there any other discussion? I see there's a committee of the whole amendment. We are on committee of the whole amendment number 1. Representative Baker.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. It's my privilege to move Committee of the Whole Amendment number 1 to House Bill 23. And members, this is a pretty simple change. If you'll just recall the brief discussion that we had, the state agency issues about 50 citations per month on this issue for the first offense. And in the last 20 months, there's been 75 second offenses. So what this amendment will do is it will address the second offenses on page 3, and it will reinstate the $100 language that is current statute, and instead will move that second offense to a moving violation. The hope is that with a little bit more severe of a penalty, that individuals will take notice, because there is no doubt that the rear-facing seats are a better option and more safe for our children. Thank you, and I would appreciate your consideration.
Any discussion on the amendment? Hearing the question called, all those in,
The amendment.
hearing the question called on the amendment. Oh, Representative Henderson.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I'd like to divide the amendment.
And what's your division?
Okay, so the first division would be line 1. The second division would be line 3 and 4. And the third division would start on line 6 to the, before the last line there.
I believe that is divisible. Which division would you like to start with?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I'd like to start with Division 1, and I'd recommend do pass on Division 1. I agree with the bringer's rationale for that. Ask for the question if there's no questions.
Is there any discussion? Hearing the question called on Division 1 of the amendment. All those in favor of the Committee of Whole Amendment number 1, Division 1, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That division passes. Moving to which division?
I'd like to move to Division 3, Madam Chairman.
Representative Henderson.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I think Division 3 makes sense. It enhances the statute and also enhances the purpose of the statute. So I would recommend passing Division 3. Call for the question if there isn't one.
Is there any discussion? Representative Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, or Madam Chairman. Sorry, still knocking some rust off. I'm trying to look up in the statute online, and I'm just not fast enough to find my place in this. I'm a little bit curious, and a lot of you who have been on Zoom meetings with me over the last couple of months know that I have been babysitting my 7-month-old granddaughter for weeks. And so I have a lot of experience with car seats for lately. And I would just like to have a little more discussion when the penalty on this part is turned into a moving violation. How expansive is this moving violation throughout all of the car seat law? Because I know it seems to me that I remember from way back, even before I had grandchildren, when this one passed, that there were a lot of exemptions for various situations. And I'm a little bit uncomfortable with turning things into moving violations when I'm not sure I fully understand kind of the whole horizon of who would be impacted by this. So either some more explanation or someone to talk more slowly while I keep looking up the titles. Thank you.
Representative Swanser.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I guess I just have a question vis-a-vis the other division that's forthcoming. It seems like this division, we're enhancing a penalty to suspend someone's license, but And I know now that they've been divided, but it does seem weird that we're lessening the fine, but enhancing a penalty in this case. And so even though we're on a division, I would like that answered at some time, the intent on why we decrease a penalty in one place and increase it in another. Suspending someone's license is a very serious thing, much more than $100, in my opinion.
Representative Baker, would you like to?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. The original statute for the first offense, the fine is $50. So we're increasing that to $100, and we're just keeping the $100. We're not decreasing anything. We're just keeping the $100. So I would think with the division, I think it's a good division. I think that we should be on and for this one, and I'm actually on and support of the second one too. It's fine. We can keep the $200 in there and increase the penalty and make it a moving violation.
Any other discussion? We are on Committee of the Whole, Amendment number 1, Division number 3. All those in favor of the Committee of Whole Amendment number 1, Division 3, say aye. Opposed, no?
No.
That amendment fails. Moving to Division 2, Representative Henderson.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Given the decision on Division 3, I'm going to withdraw. I mean, I say vote your conscience on the other one. My rationale for bringing that division on that one was related obviously to the policy of either increasing the fees or leaving the same. The purpose, as I understand, is to reverse the changes that were proposed in the bill. So vote your conscience.
Representative Baker.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. For the sake of the body, I'll withdraw Committee of the Whole Amendment number 1 to House Bill 23 just to avoid the confusion. Thank you. On and for the bill.
We have to vote. The point of order, we have to continue. So we are, is there any other discussion?
Yeah,
We are-
question, vote no.
We are on Committee of the Whole, Amendment number 1, Division number 2. All those in favor of Committee of the Whole Amendment number 1, Division 2, say aye. Opposed, no.
No.
That division fails. Is there any other discussion on the bill?
Question.
The question being called, all those in favor of Representative Burkhart's motion that the Committee of the Whole rises to report, it do so with the recommendation that House Bill 23 do pass. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. That passes. House Bill 23 has passed the Committee of the Whole. The next bill for our consideration is House Bill 19. The reading clerk will read the bill.
House Bill 19, sponsored by Transportation, Antique Motor Vehicles, an act relating to motor vehicles. Mr. Speaker, your Committee number 8, Transportation, Highway, and Military Affairs, to whom was referred House Bill 19, Antique Motor Vehicles. Respectfully report same back to the House with recommendation that it do pass with the following amendments. Ayes, Representatives Brown, Burt, Henderson, McGuire, Obermueller, O'Hearn. Noes, Representatives Baker, Burkhart, Stivar. Representative Burkhart, Chairman.
You have heard the reading of the bill. What is your pleasure? Chairman Burkhart.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I move that when the Committee of the Whole rise to report, it do so with recommendation that House Bill number 19 do pass. I further move the Standing Committee amendment, and we'll turn explanation of the bill and the Standing Committee amendment over to the good representative from somewhere here in the capital city.
Representative Brown.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I think it would be in our best interest to just go ahead and dispose of the Standing Committee amendment, and then we'll move into the bill. So, ladies and gentlemen, the Standing Committee amendment is pretty simple. If you go to page 5 and go to line 9, you'll see a area there that says you'll register the vehicle within 10 days. The committee just chose in the committee setting to go ahead and move this to 60 days to keep it in standard format with the rest of the titling of vehicles and registering of vehicles. And that's all this standing committee amendment does. If there's no questions, I'd call for the question on this.
Hearing the question being called, all those in favor of committee of the whole amendment number 1? Oh, we are on committee of the whole amendment number 1. All those in favor, say aye. All those opposed, no. The committee amendment number 1 has passed.
Madam
Back to the
Chairwoman, that
bill.
was the standing committee
Or
amendment.
the standing committee amendment, I'm
Yes,
sorry.
that's okay.
We're back on the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Ladies and gentlemen, this bill here is kind of a continuation. And after coming in here a few years ago, we had a representative from the center of the state that brought up a really good idea in one of these committee meetings that I thought was just a brilliant idea. And it was this concept that we're always talking about antique motor vehicles. And right now in statute, they basically pay a one-time fee of $10. And then they get a black plate that says Pioneer Plate. And that's all they ever have to pay is a one-time fee. And they can drive this vehicle to car shows, parades, stuff like that. And what we heard, and this is about 3 or 4 years ago, we heard some of the police force and the sheriffs and even some of the highway patrol were running into issues where they were picking these people up using these cars as everyday drivers. And so the good representative from the center of the state, it's no longer in the body here with us, but proposed the idea that maybe we ought to try to fix this. And we talked about it, but nothing ever came out of this. And so the committee picked up this bill this year, this past interim. And basically what we did is we cleaned up the statute and we decided to change a little bit of the definition of an antique motor vehicle. And then we also changed from a one-time fee to a yearly annual registration fee. And so if you take a look at your bill, go into page 2 here, the first amendment that we changed, or the first time that we changed anything, is on line 12. And we changed it from 25 years to 40 years. And the committee saw this in their infinite wisdom to go ahead and say, a vehicle that was made in 1995, basically what I drove in high school, would now be considered an antique vehicle. And you could license this with a $10 fee and drive this in a parade. Don't know how many of you have seen a 1995 Saturn SL2 driving in a parade, but they're not very common. So that's what we did here with this one. But then what we did, Madam Chairwoman, is we moved down, and if you go over to page 3, we included a grandfather clause. And the reason we included this grandfather clause is because of what we're going to be doing on page 4. On page 4, we start requiring that these antique motor vehicle plates require an annual registration fee. And this actually is going to be page 4 and 5. And we required this as an annual fee as opposed to just a $10 one-time fee that's all you pay. And the reason that the body felt like this was required is if you're going to drive the vehicle around and you're going to use the roads, you should pay for the services that you're being provided. So what we did with this is we moved it on to being this annual fee. But this grandfather clause says, hey, look, if you've done this before this law becomes enacted, that $10 license plate fee, you're going to be able to hold on to it. It's anything that moves on forward from this point forward is going to be required that annual fee. And then if you go over to page 5, one of the biggest changes that we looked at this is if these vehicles are going to be driven on the daily roads, a lot of these antique vehicles do not have to be covered by liability insurance. They are covered a lot of times for much higher value than what the title would show, such as, these classic collector cars can range, upwards of $1 million in some cases. So what this bill requires is that liability insurance be carried with any of these vehicles that are driven on a daily basis. And then on lines number 18 through 20, it also requires a signature on an affidavit that they meet all the criteria. And then the meat of the bill that is probably the most poignant here is the change in the fees. We went from a $10 fee on page 6 to a $50 initial license plate fee, and then a $50 annual validation sticker. So no different than what you and I do when we license our vehicle. This just keeps it as a $50 annual fee. And if you take a look at the fiscal note on this, I believe it's about a $10,000 a year addition to the highway fund on this. So yeah, $10,120 at the current registration. Chances are if anybody else adds this, of course, that would go up. And Madam Chairwoman, that's the bill. If there's any questions, I'll answer them.
Is there any discussion on the bill? Hearing the question being called. All those in favor of Representative Burkhart's motion that when the committee of the whole rises to report, it do so with the recommendation that bill number 19 do pass. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Let's have a division. So a standing. All those aye, please stand. They both have their hands up online. All those opposed? Did I say that? The vote is 32 to 22. That bill does pass. House Bill number 19 has passed the committee of the whole. The reading clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 52, sponsored by Agriculture, Wyoming School Protein Enhancement Project, an act relating to school nutrition. Mr. Speaker, your committee number 2 appropriations, to whom is referred House Bill 52, Wyoming School Protein Enhancement Project, respectfully report same back to the House with a recommendation that it do pass. Ayes, Representatives Kinner, Larson Lloyd, Nicholas, Schwartz, Simpson, Stith, Walters. Representative Larson Lloyd, Chairman.
You have heard the reading of the bill. What is your pleasure? Chairman Eklund.
Madam Chairman, I move that when the committee of the whole rises to report, it do so with the recommendation that House Bill 52 do pass. And I further turn the management of the bill to a new colleague who lives on the banks of the river that runs green in the county that has sweet water, and I just don't know how else to describe him, but he's standing at the mic now, so at least we can do that still.
Thank you. Representative Heiner.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and to the good chairman. Madam Chair, or Madam Speaker, I'm sorry. Madam Speaker, I bring to you House Bill 52 and ask for your favorable consideration. I'll explain the bill at this time. The school protein enhancement pilot originated in 2017 under Senate File 123. Many of the honorable members of this legislature of the 66th were involved in that pilot program back in 2017 and participated in the development of an extremely successful grant program for school districts to increase consumption of Wyoming meat products in our school lunch programs. I'd like to highlight 3 benefits that this program includes. Number 1, it lowers the cost of our school nutritional program by utilizing donated meat. Number 2, it improves the quality of meat that our children consume. And number 3, it builds upon the relationship between schools and our agricultural industry by allowing the ag community to support their local schools. And I might say that they are very proud of being able to do that. This is a bill that is a 50-50 match or a dollar for dollar match with school districts for the processing fee of donated meat. It directs the Department of Education to make $25,000 available annually to support the program. This not only enables livestock producers to donate animals to the local school districts, but it also allows animals that are purchased in our county fairs to be donated to school districts as well to support this program. The pilot program has been experiencing high success in some areas of the state. In 2017, school years 2017, 2018, there was a total request of $4,200 made by 4 school districts. At the end of the year, of course, to process those requests, the vouchers have to be submitted, and only 1 school district actually submitted a voucher for reimbursement of $260. In the school year 2018, 2019, $25,000 was requested by 10 school districts. At the end of the year, only 9 districts submitted the necessary paperwork for a total of $11,425. And last school year, there were 6 school districts that submitted applications for $16,400 in processing. At the end of the year, only 2 school districts actually sent in the paperwork for a total of $3,400. So as we look at the bill on page 2, the financial assistance will only go to processing to help pay for processing costs for Wyoming poultry, lamb, pork, beef, and bison that is donated to the specific school district. And then on page 2, lines 19 through 13, it says the department shall contingent upon available funding, provide a match of at least $1 for every dollar contributed by the school district. Again, it reiterates that it'll be for Wyoming meat products. And finally, on page 2, lines 17 and 18, it charges the department. It says the department shall endeavor to provide funding to as many school districts as possible. This program, this pilot program, has been hugely successful in many areas of our state. Our executive officer, whose office is on the bottom floor of this Capitol building, and his wife have voiced support of this bill. Not only would this bill help school districts increase Wyoming meat products in school nutrition programs, it would provide another opportunity to feed those children who do not get enough to eat every day. And this is a major emphasis of our state hunger initiative. With that, Madam Chair, I stand for questions.
Is there any discussion? Representative Washut.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My question is whether the committee considered other institutions in the state that utilize food services such as the university, the community colleges, Wyoming Law Enforcement Academy, or prisons, and those places as well might be another avenue for our Wyoming agricultural products. And I just wondered if they discussed that.
Representative Burkhart.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. A question on the use of bison meat. Is this intended to be what I would call domestic bison or wild bison? Because there is a difference, and I just want some clarification. Thank you.
Representative Hunt.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I just briefly on and in support of the bill. As the good presenter of the bill has said, you know, this has been something that's been being worked on and kind of tweaked and perfected over the last couple of years. But I think that this is a good, hopefully, effectively final step in putting this program together. So on and in favor, very strongly. Thank you.
Representative Connolly.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. On and in favor of the bill, but I'm curious if there was any discussion about a mechanism to kind of bolster the matching funding. Because I think honestly, our ranchers and community are incredibly generous, but that processing through the WDE that really doesn't have the money is the issue. So I'm curious if there was any discussion about alternative means to donate the processing.
Representative Heiner, would you like to take some of those on?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate the conversation about other entities that might be utilized to enhance their nutritional program. I would also add to that list senior citizens throughout the state that have meals. So it's something that we we should consider. And if we have livestock owners or individuals that purchase animals at our county fairs that would like to donate it to senior citizen centers or things like that, that's a very noble cause, and I like that idea. As far as the bison, it's intended to be domestic bison and not wild game at this point. And as far as the dollar value of $25,000, it's been, this pilot program has been in operation for 3 years, and we have yet to even reach 50% of that $25,000 of funds that are actually expended at this point. So, you know, I think the opportunity is there to develop and expand this program. Increasing that threshold may put a burden upon our Department of Education right now, but I would like to see it expanded to all areas of the state.
Chairman Eklund.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I'd address a few of the things as well. As far as expansion, I don't believe the discussion went into other agencies or donations to other institutions. And mainly I say that I am new chairman of the committee, and I wasn't there when the discussion took place, but it's specific to the Department of Ed. It'd be a little difficult to amend this bill because it would change. It would probably change too much, but another bill could come along to do the same thing. And the question on the bison, everything that goes through this has to be USDA inspected. So the domestic bison, not only the domestic bison would, they would have to be fully processed at a USDA approved facility. We don't have a lot of them in the state. We're working on that. We'll have some bills that'll come along that'll hopefully help along that part of the process. Right now, there are some options, and this is being used. As far as matches with other entities, usually the match has to be between the district and the WED. So it would take probably another amendment of some sort. I'm not sure that if we're looking for other matches, I'm not sure that the bill prevents other donations for the processing fee. So thank you.
Representative Clausen.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I'd like to speak to the question of the school foundation, the 25,000 coming out of the school foundation. So currently, the school foundation would have to purchase this for their school lunches. So it's probably an advantage financially for the school district because to take the donated meat currently, if they didn't have a donated product, they would have to purchase the whole product instead of just the processing. So it probably comes out as a net gain as far as financially for a school district.
Representative Summers.
Madam Chairman, thank you. I guess my question is, thanks to the minority floor leader, this pot of money was a $50,000 pot of money that was set aside for a similar purpose at another time. So my question is 25,000 is what is left of the 50,000 that was in that appropriation, or is this just 25 of what is still sitting there as 50,000?
Speaker Barlow.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I appreciate the opportunity. So first of all, I want to congratulate our two freshmen who have presented a bill on the floor live as the first two freshmen, this bill and the previous. So congratulations to them. But I am going to testify on this bill. And one is just a personal thing that yak are not included as one of the protein sources. The second thing I do think is relevant to this discussion is it doesn't talk about whether these can be out-of-state or in-state processors. And we're talking about taking state money. I think we do need at least have that understanding if these could be processed in an out-of-state processor. In some parts of the state, part of the state that I live in, we just got our first USDA processor 2 weeks ago, and I've delivered 12 animals to there in the last 2 weeks. Prior to that, for the last 15 years, as I market livestock, I've traveled to the state to the east of where I live. So I think that's just something to keep in mind, and it certainly doesn't have to be responded to today, but keep in mind as we continue to work this bill and think about this bill. Are we talking about in-state processors, or is it open to all processors? Because that would be state money flowing out of the state potentially. The second thing I'd respectfully ask you to consider is what is a Wyoming animal? Is that an animal that got bought out of South Dakota and brought to Wyoming out of a sale barn, or excuse me, out of somewhere else? Or is that a born, bred, raised, et cetera animal? We can talk about the different things we talk about of livestock and out of country livestock and country of origin labeling and those type of things. So those are just two things that I'd ask us to keep in mind. Are we sending processing money? Does this intend to send processing money out of our state dollars? And are we confident we're getting Wyoming livestock? So those are two things, and they don't have to be addressed now, but think about those as we go to second and third reading. If we want to tighten this up a little bit and really benefit not only children who get the quality protein and good Wyoming quality protein, but also the producers in our state and processors in our state, very specifically and directly. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Representative Clausen.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I'll take a whack at those questions. And I think the good speaker knows the answer, but I think it's any animal could be donated to this program no matter where they came from. And they could go to any processor, no matter where they would be, as long as they were USDA inspected, the way this is written. But I think it's done in rules, but maybe I'm mistaken. Actually, it's
Representative Eklund. Sorry, Chairman Eklund.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. So there are a couple of questions I think I can answer. A yak is a bovine, so they would be included even though we didn't list them that way. And I don't know why a bison isn't a bovine, but we didn't scientifically name them that way, but the yak is scientifically the same as beef cattle. They sure don't look or act the same way. And as far as the USDA programs, I know presently many have to send them out of state because we don't have the USDA plants presently. Like I said, we're working on that. But for the time being, there have been animals donated that have been processed out of state because they had to get the USDA inspection.
Speaker Barlow.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. So I do appreciate that that cattle and yak may be of the same genus, but they are somewhat different. And but I do think that we do need some clarification for tomorrow's second reading about the USDA processing issue, because I know I believe in the communities that in my area, they are being processed at state inspected facilities, not just USDA inspected facilities. So I'd like that to be clarified, at least for me personally, whether it can be just only USDA processing or state processing as well, because that does change it a little bit for availability of processors in the state of Wyoming. So thank you, Madam Chairman.
Representative Larson.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. And to the speaker's comments, in my neck of the woods, we have a state inspected facility that has an MOU with USDA to sell intrastate publicly slaughtered beef, and it meets that criteria. And so my question, I guess, is for those state facilities that have that intrastate authority from the USDA, is that encompassed in his same question? Or is that outside, or is he just talking about a local meat packer that does not have that in understanding? So maybe as we could get that clarified again for tomorrow's reading would be helpful.
Is there any other discussion on the bill? The question being called. Oh, Chairman Eklund, did you?
I think we can do some amendments to tighten the bill up, and I'd appreciate your aye vote on this, and it's been a good program. The amendments that are being made in this are good ones and fairly necessary. I would urge an aye vote on it. We'll work on tightening the bill up.
Representative Clausen?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I think to answer the questions, page 2, line 8, the question about whether it's state or federal, I think it's established by rule and regulation of the department. So if the cafeteria, if the rule is that it has to be state inspected through the Department of Agriculture, then it would have to be state inspected. And I think that's where it's covered. But anyway.
Any other discussion? The question being called. All those in favor of Representative Eklund's motion that when the committee of the whole rises to report, it do so with the recommendation that bill number 52 do pass. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. House Bill 52 has passed the committee of the whole. Recognizing House Majority Floor Leader.
Madam Chairman, I move that the committee of the whole begs leave to rise and sit again until 2 p.m.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Committee, are there any committee announcements? Chairman Paxton.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. The Education Committee number 4 will meet in Committee Room number 3 immediately following noon recess to consider 2 bills, House Bill 81, School Finance Litigation, and the continuation of House Bill 61, School Finance Recalibration.
Any other committee announcements? Chairman Burkhart.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Your committee number 8, Transportation, Highways, Military Affairs, will meet tomorrow upon 15 minutes upon noon recess to consider 2 bills, House Bill 131 and House Bill 135.
Chairman Nicholas.
Thank you, Chairwoman. Your House Appropriations will meet on adjournment in room E301, so it's not the regular room. E301, we'll hear a continuation of House Bill, let's see, House Bill 76, 87, and 131 and 133. Re-referrals will be 10, 24, and 26, and any other ones that we receive, as well as House Joint Resolution 3. We will not hear 131, which is the CapCon bill.
Chairman Zwanitzer.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Your committee number 7, Corporations, Elections, and Political Subdivisions, will meet 5 minutes from now in EO5 to hear the following 3 bills: House Bill 14, Rights of Way, House Bill 65, Political Subdivision Deposits, and House Bill 72, Transfer of Water and Sewer District Operations.
Vice Chairman Duncan.
Thank you, Committee Chairwoman. Privilege of the floor.
Privilege granted.
Thank you. Just a quick housekeeping announcement. There are lunches being provided in the lunchroom. They will be daily at 11 o'clock. So just be aware that they are in the break room. Thank you very much.
Speaker Barlow.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I just want to follow up on that with a, I guess, extended privilege. So first of all, we need to thank our courtesy chairman, Representative Duncan for making these arrangements so that we have this opportunity. Second, Madam Chairman, as you go into the break room, there's going to be there's a board that tells you who sponsored the meal for each day. So as you're reaching out to these folks, and a lot of them are probably here and they're talking to you about different issues, please thank them. Please thank them because they are helping us do our work. As you know, right now, at least 3 committees are meeting every noon hour. So that's half of the body that gets to benefit, would directly benefit from taking lunch or having it from where they return back from their committee meeting. So please be appreciative of those folks who are being generous and providing us these meals. And my thanks again to Vice Chairman Duncan.
We are recessed till 2 p.m.